This is a presentation of our integrative project. This project was made with the company Oropeza, Puertas y Madera to develop an exportation plan of lower doors. The students that come from this team are Andrea Briceño, Lucero Claudio, Valeria Gerón, Aldo Ortiz, and Alberto Rocha. The assessor of this project was the Ingeniera Cristina Vázquez Olvera. Our major is International Trade Operations BIS, and the university is Universidad Tecnológica de Durango. The chapter 1 is about the problem statement. To this project, the team seeks to develop an exportation plan for a Mexican company located in the state of Durango. The company's name is Oropeza, Puertas y Madera. The chosen product to be exported are the louver doors. These doors were selected because they have a great opportunity in the international market and because they are one of the best sellers of this company. The general objective is to develop an effective and successful plan for the company Oropeza, Puertas y Maderas. So in this way, the company will achieve competing in the international market and have more possibilities of commerce.
The next chapter is the chapter number 2, productive and exported capacity. And due to years of experience, the company has no problem in making their products. However, the company has been specialized in local and national business and has never exported internationally. And with no experience in the international market, they are willing to invest in this project, in the exportation project, because they know who their market is. Then we have the chapter number 3, that is the product description. First, we have the name and the image of the product, and it is louver door because of the louvers that the door contains. The merceological analysis. Well, first we have the common name of the product. As I mentioned, it is louver door, and it is the same for its commercial name, louver door. The definition of the product, it is that a louver door has some part of it filled with louvers to allow air to pass while the door is closed. The louvers are frame openings in the door filled with horizontal slats for admitting the air or light. Then the origin or nature of the product, it is from the plant kingdom, and this because the door is made of pine wood. The presentation of the product, well, it is presented in individual pieces without any kind of box or bag. Then we have the obtaining method. First, when the wood arrives into the company, it has already been through a process called kiln drying. And this process allows the wood to have a quicker and more effective drying of the wood. And this process makes it stronger than one that is not dried. Then in the next image, we have a machine that cuts the wood in small pieces, and that will form the styles. Then in the third image, we can see how the grooves are made. And these grooves allow the pieces to be joined with the other ones. The fourth image shows the machine that is in charge of making the grooves in the side of the styles. And these grooves will help to join the louvers with the styles. In the next image, it is pictured how the pieces that conform the style are joined. Then in the next image, it is pictured the machine that is in charge of making the rails of the door. And the rails are the superior and inferior part of the door. In the following image, there is the There is shown how the rails have grooves in the superior and inferior side parts, and also an opening in which the dowel is inserted to join the rails with the stiles. The following image is the representation of the louvers already sized, and the following image is the louvers that conform the door, where they are going to be placed, and the last image is the machine that it is in charge to eliminate any kind of roughness from the final door. Then we have the morphological analysis. First, the use and function. Well, this door can be used for aesthetic, just for decoration, or for a good viable way to maintain the ventilation within rooms or closets. It can also be used in hotels or restaurants. The composition, as I mentioned before, it is made of pine wood, and the wood followed a process that is called kiln drying process. The characteristics of the product, well, the general size of the door is 0.65 meters length and 2.13 meters height. And this door is formed by four main parts, which are the stiles, the rail, the louvers, and the wooden plugs. And in the image, we can see the names of the parts placed in its corresponding place. Then the tariff classification. Well, the section in which this product is classified is the section 9, which is wood, charcoal, and manufacturers of wood, cork and articles thereof, manufacturers of spartery or basketwork. The chapter is the chapter 44, that it's called Wood, Charcoal, and Articles of Wood. The heading is 44.18, that is called Works and Carpentry Pieces of Buildings, including cellular boards, assembled floor covering boards, and roofing boards for roofs or facades, shingles, and shake of wood. Then the subheading is the 4418.20, doors and their frames, counterframes, and their holes. And its tariff fraction is 4418.20.01. That is doors and their frames, counterframes, and their holes. And this is the correct classification of this product because this louver door has some part of it filled with louvers that allows the air and the light to pass through it. And this door that is going to be exported is made of different pieces that form just one, and they are formed from different pieces.
Then we have chapter 4 that is called Description of the Market. And as a first point, we have the destination country. The selected product will be exported to Puerto Rico, specifically to its capital city, San Juan. Puerto Rico is an unincorporated territory of the United States. And it is located at the northeast of the Caribbean Sea. The estimated population is 3,193,946 inhabitants. The languages spoken there are English and Spanish. As they are an unincorporated territory of the United States, the president is Donald Trump, but they have a governor that currently is Wanda Vázquez Garcet. Puerto Rico is made up of 8 senatorial districts, 40 representative districts, and 78 municipalities. As part of the USA, the currency is a Puerto Rican peso that has actually the same value as the American dollar. Puerto Rico in its capacity as an associated state of the United States, adopts the same provisions as that country in matters of trade policy. It is for this reason that Puerto Rico is part of the customs and tariff system of the United States. As a second point, we have the target market. The market on site is none other than the international market. Since entering the international market would bring many benefits to the company, such as increasing the company's opportunities to reach better possibilities in an open and bigger market. Companies like DTEX, construction and interior remodeling, and other enterprises specialized in construction or interior designing are the main objective for the market. Starting working with this kind of enterprises will allow Oropeza, Puertas, y Madera to make its market bigger. They can gain experience in this new market, but also get more popularity between other interior remodeling companies or bigger enterprises, such as distributors or resellers. For this reason, it is a good strategy to start with DTEX, who has experience in the market of construction and remodeling. Then we have chapter 5, that is called negotiation plan. First, we have the negotiation technique, and the negotiation technique chosen to carry out this sale is the collaboration technique, or also called win-win negotiation. And this technique is a careful exploration of both positions in order to find a mutually acceptable outcome that gives both parties as much of what they want as possible. Then we have the type negotiator that we're going to be, and that is the analyst negotiator. This type of negotiator needs to avoid mistakes. For them, the silence is a chance to think, and the analyst negotiators are thorough, methodical, and knowledgeable. Then the negotiation barriers that we can find is the quality standards, because they change depending on the country, either in the production process or in the packaging process. The informational void is also a negotiation barrier, because many times when negotiator, there is a lack of communication, which creates information gaps, and consequently it makes it difficult to negotiate since you don't have all the data. And finally, the culture when negotiating, and the language, because despite the fact that in Puerto Rico the official language is Spanish, when negotiating the use of English is very important.
So I'm going to present you the chapter 6, that is the transport selection. First, we need to know the type of cargo. The type of cargo that is going to be exported from Mexico to San Juan, Puerto Rico is of the general type. In contrast with the other type of cargo, that is the bulk, the doors are needed to be packaged and louvered, so they are needed to be unitized and piece by piece, and this makes it possible to take them as bulk. So it is not a being large load, because they are only 300 doors. The load will be set by multimodal transport from Durango to the Port of Veracruz, and then the international transport will be the freight with a consolidated load. Also, we need to know the type of container that we're going to use, that is a dry van 20, and this is because it's the most appropriate for the merchandise. As the merchandise doesn't need any type of care like ventilation or refrigeration, this type of container is the most appropriate for the merchandise. Then we move to the transport. Well, first, we have the transport in country of origin. It's going to be by land, and it will be use a parcel van, that is the one of the picture, and This parcel van is modified so it can be an storage for more merchandise. The transport has a rigid composition, and the cabin and the cargo area are together. This will be via parcel, and it will have a cost of 6,000 pesos because it is a service by the DHL. Then we move to the principal transport that is going to be a container ship. Statistics shows that more than half of the maritime trade is carried out through this type of vessels. They have a crew or a tripulation between 20 and 40 people, and they are equipped only with diesel engines. Also, it's going to be via parcel, and it's going to have a cost of 51,835 pesos because it is also a service. Then we move to the destination transport here. It will be used an articulated trailer of not so large dimensions, and this type of transport is a type box, and is one of the most common on the roads, and the cargo of the merchandise will be consolidated. And this transport is in charge to move the merchandise from the port of Veracruz, no, of San Juan, sorry, to the port, to the company Ditex, that is the buyer. Then we move to the insurance. Well, the Incoterm that is going to be used is the BOF, that is free on board. And this insurance includes a extended coverage. This type of insurance extends the coverage of the cargo policy and cover risks such as wetting, breakage, collision between goods, theft, loss, and other risks that can be added to the policy. It is important to note that um, as being the Incoterm FOB, the company Oropeza, Puertas, y Madera, it doesn't have the obligation to pay for the insurance in the principal transport. But if the buyer company need it, the Oropesa can bring them or can give them information or documentation for to hire the insurance. Then we move to the logistic route. Here, where the first the merchandise will be loaded into the parcel van that is going to be in charge to move the merchandise from Durango to the port of Veracruz, and it's about 20 hours long. Then it will be unloaded the merchandise and uploaded to the dry van. And once the merchandise is loaded on the container ship, it will make a trip of 3,166 kilometers to the port of Puerto Rico. Then the merchandise will be another again unloaded and then uploaded to the land transportation there, and the trailer is going to be in charge to move the merchandise from the port of San Juan to the company Ditex. The customs there, the merchandise will pass through only two customs. The one is the one in the port of Veracruz, and the other one is in the port of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Then we move to the logistic budgets. Well, the chapter is the chapter 7. Here, first we need to know the production cost. Well, within the production cost for the laboratories of the company Oropeza, Puertas y Madera, there are two types of cost, the fixed and the variable cost. Here we divide into raw material, that is the variable cost because it depends on the production, and the fixed cost, that is a total of 45,000 pesos. Then we move to the commercialization cost. Here, the commercialization costs are related to the sale of the product, and this includes the cost of publicity, local transportation, and packaging, with a total of 5,735 pesos. Then we move to the administration costs. These costs are the ones that the company has to carry on the management, organization, and control of that are not related with the production cycle. Here we included the internet, the salaries, and the stationery. That is a total of 39,000 pesos. And finally, we have the financial cost. That is, these ones are included in the debts of the company, such as loans. And in the specific case of this the company of Oropesa, the financial means money invested to produce the doors.
We have the cost for the Incoterms, and the first one is the ex-works. Since we are looking in these Incoterms from the seller's point of view, we are not taking into account the profit of the merchandise, but we are taking into account the fixed and variable cost of the company, giving a total cost of 165,000 pesos. Then, for any type of transport, we have the Incoterm free carrier. This one has a price of 213,610 pesos. This one includes the loading of the merchandise in the local transport, and the expenses in the national custom. Then we have the carriage paid to with a cost of 275,876 pesos. Next, also for any type of transport, we have the carriage and insurance paid to Incoterm. This one adds the insurance and it has a total price of 277,790 pesos. We have the delivered at place Incoterm with a base of 282,790 pesos. Finally, the delivered at place unloaded Incoterm includes the cost of arrival, handling, storage, and unloading of the merchandise in the country of destination, in this case, Puerto Rico, with a cost of 287,790 pesos. We have the Incoterms exclusive for maritime transport. The first one is the free alongside ship with a base of 216,610 pesos. Then we have the chosen Incoterm for this project, that is the free on board, with a base of 224,053 pesos. This Incoterm includes the cost of the port of shipment, in this case in Mexico, with the handling, storage, and loading on the ship. Exclusive for maritime transport, we also have the coast and freight Incoterm. This one includes the cost of the principal transport, and it has a base of 275,876 pesos. Finally, the cost insurance and freight with a cost of 277,790 pesos. There are some taxes that must be paid in order to export a merchandise. In the case of Puerto Rico, since it's governed under the policies of the United States, the free trade agreement that is going to be applied in this export plan is the TEMEC between Mexico, the United States, and Canada. This free trade agreement allows to have the exemptions of some payments. We have the Incoterm free on board, and for this Incoterm, the customs value is going to be 224,053 pesos. The Impuesto General de Exportación, the Derecho de Trámite Aduanero, and IVA is exempted, so we don't have to pay it. Then we have the usage fees that includes the prevalidación en contraprestación. So if we add this to the customs value, it gives us a total of 224,355 pesos.
Now I'm going to be talking about chapter 8, that is about the regulations and documentation to exports. Okay, so first of all, we have the custom regime. Well, for this merchandise will be exported with definitive exportation, and this regime is established in the Articles 102 of the Customs Law that expresses that the merchandise is ready to be exported to another country, another territory, to stay there for an unlimited time. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the tariff preferences. And well, first of all, Puerto Rico is actually considered to be an associated state of the United States of America. So it shares the same matters of policy, and this includes the Free Trade Federation agreements. And for this reason, Puerto Rico is actually part of the customs and the tariff system of the United States of America. Okay, so currently, at the moment I'm recording this, the United States have free trade agreements with more than 20 countries, including Korea, Mexico, Costa Rica, and Dominican Republic. And as I already mentioned, Puerto Rico is a part of the United States, so he shares the same treaties and the same special treatments from the United States. Okay, so one of the most important treaties with of the United States of America is actually the United States, Mexico, and Canada trade agreement. That is usually like the USMCA. That this treaty is a free trade agreement from North America, and it came to replace the original NAFTA. And this treaty was only recently put into use. Okay, so in this agreement, well, when it comes to general revisions, it establishes that Mexico does not have to pay any kind of tariff or face any type of barrier during the exportation. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the non-tariff regulations. And in the case of Mexico, well, Mexico doesn't really have any regulations or, well, non-tariff regulations for the wooden stated doors of the fraction 4418.20.01. So it's really exempt of paying any extra cost of these non-tariff regulations. Next of all is that we're going to talk about the non-tariff regulations of Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico actually has quite a lot of regulations, including this, involving these kind of doors. First of all is the labeling requirements, and well, this also refers about the care, the health of the animals or plants. In this case, is the health of the tree that we are getting the wood to make the doors. The other one is the A619, that is the other requirements of production and post-production processes. Well, this is actually something that is involved clearly in the development of the product, mainly related to these kind of products made out of wood. Is mainly about debarking the wood, that is taking the exterior pieces and leaving only the pure wood to be processed. Next one is the A8040, and is the inspection requirement, and this is mainly due to inspect the merchandise in case to see if it has any kind of pest or infestation. Next one is the B310, the labeling requirements, and this actually like a more general inspection, mainly due by the Coast Guard, and this has to be this is related to the marking. It has to do with the, for example, the marking you put into the product. So the product should include or must include the Coast Guard marks. Next is the BIS 700, the product quality, safety, and performance requirement. And this is basically what is asked for. Is asking to see the quality of the product, the safety, and how it performs in its use. The next one is the B820, that is a testing requirement. And this talks about any kind of test that the door should, like the product should get through. It must be inspected and it must be like updated every time it gets a new test. Okay, so next one is the B819. There is the conformity assessment related to the TBT. Well, this is kind of a petition made by the Coast Guard. That is he's asking for information, and all the information must be given in certain orders. For example, they ask for the general information of the product. They can even ask for a sample of the product to be shown one specific subject of this product that we're trying to export. The next ones are just the A530, the fumigation, and the A510, that is the cold and heat treatment. Okay, so next is the documentation for the export operation. And well, this is really fast. It talks about the Article 36 and the Article 36A. They refer to when a person is willing to export a merchandise outside from the national territory using a type of regime. They usually have to, show or send via an electronic document some kind of petition. And in this document, you should really put the information, the general information of the product you're trying to export. And in the Article 36A, it's mainly establishing what to do and what the document really needs to have in order to be a valid document. And it also asks for a electronic ID for the person that is trying to export the product. Okay. Well, so now we're done with chapter number 8. So now we're springing to chapter number 9, that is the conclusions. Okay, so my personal conclusions about this project was that I really felt good using all the knowledge I have been acquiring from the previous 3 quarters, and actually it was really interesting. Although it was kind of frustrating, it was interesting to put this knowledge into use, like into practice. But I think most important of all, this project really like make me fell in love with the career again, because at some point I was really thinking about if I like the career or not. But thanks to this project in general, I have confirmed that I really like the career and I find it really interesting.
My conclusion is that this project has been a real challenge for us because communication with the company, with teachers, and the communication between us as classmates was virtual. And it was quite difficult because the world situation is not something that anyone is ever going to get used to. But despite all the situation, we managed to overcome it and do a great job in the end. Something that I learned during the process of carrying out this project is the importance of teamwork, since we constantly had to be in communication to carry out all the research effectively and efficiently. Regarding the topics covered in this project, I have to say that although some chapters were more difficult than others, they all are really important because each one complements everything that a commercial export operation entails. Through our research and thanks to the guidance of the teachers, I was able to understand the entire process involved in an export plan, either from the negotiation between the companies involved in the international sale, the calculating of the contributions that have to be paid for the merchandise, and to carry out all the meteorological analysis to properly classify the merchandise.
And well, the conclusions of this integrative project are the following. First, we can say that we were able to learn new things. In addition to put in practice all the knowledge we got during this quarter and during previous quarters, we had to use every single topic from every single subject we had. It was knowledge that we had to use to develop this
Through the
project.
development of this project, I was able to understand how important it is to create a correct exportation plan, following all the procedures and stages that must be followed. One of the hardest parts for me was the part of the financial cost, because there were a lot of prices that needed to be taken into account, and also the calculus of the Incoterms was kind of hard. But one of the easiest parts was the one of the creation of the mission, vision, and values for the company Oropeza, Puertas y Maderas. I think that one of the most important steps was the one where we had to classify the louver door inside of the harmonized system. If we hadn't classified it correctly, we wouldn't be able to know which were the non-tariff regulations and the taxes that must be paid. This project wouldn't have been possible without the help of all the teachers and their instruction. I think thank you to all the knowledge they gave to us. This project was possible to elaborate.
Well, for a conclusion, I think that this project helped us to put in practice what we have learned in in the last few quarters, the importance of the specification of an exportation. And I feel really proud of my partners because they did a really good job. I think that at the beginning was some kind of difficult because we have never worked together, but I think they finally we we were really near each other, and I'm really happy to make this project. Thank you very much.